Hi there. In this video, I'm going to start showing you how you can improve the sounds of your synths. So we're going to show you the basics of synthesis using the 3 oscillator synth in FL Studio. So at the moment, this pad part isn't very interesting. I'm just going to play it back. It's a really simple sound, there's not much to it. I've got this channel soloed here. Right, so I'm going to open the channel rack. And now I'm going to open up 3 oscillator pad. Now it's organised, it's nice and easy to see which parts are which. Because this name here, 3 oscillator pad, is matched up in the mixer down here. Right, so to open up the instrument, start changing the sound, I'm going to click on the name here. This is a 3 oscillator instrument. We looked at this briefly earlier, but I'm just going to go over it again. So, an oscillator is a waveform generator, and in this synth, there is 3. So these are 3 individual oscillators which create different sounds. At the moment, they're all set to a sine wave, which is this wave shape here. This is the most basic sound wave and has the least harmonics. So I'm just going to change a couple of the oscillators to give it a different tone. So I'm going to change the oscillator 1 to this shape here. You can instantly hear it's a very different sound. Now I'm going to change oscillator 2 to this shape here. This is a square wave. You can hear it's a much richer sound. Now I've got this detune fader here, so listen to the difference it makes when I adjust this. If you move it a little bit, it gives a nice sort of chorus effect, whereas if I slide it all the way to the top, the oscillators are out of tune with each other. So if you just adjust this a little bit, it gives it a much nicer wide sound. One other thing I'm going to do, just to make it sound a bit more interesting, is adjust the pan. So this dial here will control the panning for the oscillator. If you're listening on headphones or studio monitors, the effect will be more dramatic. So again, this is going to make the pad sound a lot wider. So something else I'm going to do now, which may seem more complicated, is add an LFO. So an LFO is a low frequency oscillator, and this is used to give the sound a pulsating effect. So to access this in the 3 oscillator synth, go up to this cog icon at the top left, and then this menu will appear. So we're just going to go to this 3rd tab here, which opens up our envelope, LFO and filter. So at the moment, this page is on volume. I'm going to leave it here. We're not going to look at the other tabs at the moment because I just want to quickly improve the sound of this pad. So one thing I'd recommend doing when using the LFO is checking the tempo icon. So this means the LFO will be in time with the song. Now what we can do is increase the amount of the LFO. So I'm just going to go anti-clockwise around a quarter, and I'm going to reduce the speed a little bit. Now listen back. So you can hear the effect there is quite dramatic. So what I want to do is have this pad part pulsating in time with the track. So I'm going to unsolo this pad by selecting the insert in the mixer and pressing S. Now it's no longer soloed. Now it's pumping in time with the track and gives quite a nice effect. Another thing I adjusted was this attack time dial here. When I turn it all the way to the right, you can see this graphic representation of the LFO changing. I want it to come in straight away, so I'm going to turn it all the way down. One other thing, if I change the amount, go around to the other side, in the centre there is no LFO. Listen to the difference it makes having it clockwise rather than anti-clockwise. So as we can see by the graphic display, the volume is being turned down slightly by the LFO before going up and down again. If it's the other way around, the volume is simply being turned up first. I quite like it when it's turned anti-clockwise. Okay, great, the sound's getting somewhere, but there's one last thing I'd like to do, and that's use the filter. So this first dial here is the cutoff frequency of the low pass filter. What a filter is basically an EQ, which is cutting the high frequencies from the sound. So as I pull this down, it'll cut more of the high frequencies. I'm just going to solo the pad again, so it's more obvious. As I don't want this pad to be in the forefront of the song, I'm going to pull it back down to around here. Now I'm just going to quickly go back to the LFO and show you a couple of the different wave shapes. So as we can see here, we're using a sine wave, which gradually goes down and then up again. We also have a triangle wave here, which as you can see, just slightly changes the shape. So it's slightly more dramatic. Now if we go over to the square wave, it gives a very different sound. So I'm going to go back to this triangle type, unsolo it, this time by right-clicking on the icon. So in this video, I've shown you how you can quickly change the sound of a synthesizer, this time looking at the 3 oscillator. It's a very basic synth and it's easy to manipulate. So just remember, if you want to access the LFO and the filter section, click on this cog at the top here, and then go over to this icon here. There are a couple of other features, but we're not going to look at those for the moment. So in this video, I went over quickly how you can manipulate sounds within the 3 oscillator synth. Just remember, if you want to access the LFO and filter section, click on the cog at the top left of the synth, and go into this icon here, and it will bring them up. I hope you found this lecture useful, and I'll see you in the next one.